This slide shows you a couple of common examples of unconscious or implicit biases, many of which, you're probably familiar with, but these two are pretty common. We think it might be helpful to focus on them. So the affinity or similarity bias is the tendency to connect with others who share similar interests, experiences, and backgrounds. So when organizations hire for culture fit, they can easily fall prey to this bias. Just as similarities shouldn't disqualify someone automatically, it also shouldn't be a deciding factor. So when healthcare organizations are reviewing an applicant or vendor's credentials actively, note those similarities, look for the attributes needed for the job or the business opportunity. Later on in the presentation, Greg's going to talk about some best practices around culture fit. Confirmation bias is the inclination to draw conclusions about a situation or a person based on personal beliefs and prejudices rather than unbiased merit. So a good example in research is, say your client is a healthcare provider that serves patients with low socioeconomic status. And it's really well understood that socioeconomic status is an important social determinant of health because patients with low SES are, one, likely to be uninsured or underinsured, and two, seek healthcare less often. And so when they do, it's more likely for an emergency. Well, studies show that providers who serve patients in this community may assume that patients who present at their clinic are, presenting for an urgent healthcare need as opposed to something more routine, mundane, or even preventative, which may impede the provider from asking a fulsome set of intake questions that they would otherwise ask if they were serving a different community setting, or otherwise being prepared to address the patient's full scope of needs and not be blinded with what they expect to see when the patient presents in that community setting. So depriving the provider and the patient of a full caliber of care.